Do you want to learn an easy way to connect with your spirit guides? Then stick around. Really great way to connect with your spirit guides, your higher self, your spirit team in general is the pendulum. I really love the pendulum because it's a really great way to connect with subtle energies. The pendulum actually moves with our own energy movement. So we're always connecting to our higher self and our spirit guides, and we're always receiving information, but we're so busy with the world and the dense energies that sometimes it's very hard for us to pick up on the subtle energies. This is where the pendulum really helps, because with the subtle movements, then you're able to pick up the information that your spirit guides or your higher self are trying to share with you. If you're new to this ordeal with the pendulum, I just want to invite you to think about what type of pendulum you're going to get. A lot of people go for the crystal pendulums, which is fine. Just make sure that you clear it before you start using it, because it does get bogged down by energy. Crystal does have the capacity to hold information, and if it hasn't been cleared, then sometimes you might not receive guidance or the answers, or sometimes it might not even move, as it's just storing energy. Especially if you have a brand new pendulum, you definitely want to use something like an incense or sage or palo santo to kind of clear it out. Another thing to consider is how long the chain is. Depending on how long the chain is how long the answer is going to take to come forth. The longer the chain, the longer it'll take for the pendulum to move towards the answer or the direction in your chart. If you're starting out with a pendulum, I usually recommend that you go with something that feels comfortable to you. There's a couple of school of thought when it comes down to how to hold your pendulum. If you should hold it on your non-dominant hand, or if you hold it on your dominant hand. I personally prefer my dominant hand. Just do what feels comfortable to you. I personally like my pendulum to be a little shorter because I work in the pendulum. I go in the Akashic Records and clear energies, and so I prefer the pendulum to be smaller or shorter and not be as heavy, so that I can move through the charts a little faster. You can use the pendulum without a chart, but there are charts that exist for you to be able to get answers. So if you want to not use a chart, you want to make sure that you ask your question, a very specific question, after setting an intention, after connecting to your higher self or your spirit guide, and then you move into asking very specific questions that will give you a yes or no answer. If you decide to use a chart, then you can basically place your pendulum in the middle, ask the question, and let the pendulum move towards the answer that is right for that question. There's also a lot of fear around connecting to the pendulum because you're not sure specifically who you're connecting with. You are the one in control, and you're the one who decides who you're connecting with. So a good rule of thumb is to make sure that you set that intention first with connecting with your higher self or your spirit guides, and then move into the place of asking the questions. And you can even ask if you're connected to your higher self, or is there anyone else involved, or if you're connected to your spirit guide and there's anyone else involved. And then if there's anyone else involved, then you can ask your higher self or spirit, the universe, to clear anything or any blocks that are keeping you from connecting to your higher self directly or to your spirit guide directly, and then move into asking again until you get a no on the answer of if there's anyone else involved in your query. So let's practice together. Let's go ahead and set an intention together to connect with the pendulum. So I want to invite you to take your pendulum and place it on your heart space and close your eyes. Just take this moment just to thank it and give it your love and gratitude for the fact that it's a tool that you're using at this time to support you in your intuitive guidance. You can take a couple of deep breaths as you close your eyes or soften your gaze, and just visualize this beautiful white light emanating from your heart space, enveloping your pendulum. And try to visualize in your mind's eye this beautiful white light just infusing your pendulum, almost as if you're blessing it with your heart. You're sending all of your love and gratitude, and you're imprinting your pendulum with your essence, with your energy. You can do this with a couple of breaths, and when you feel ready, then you can go ahead and open your eyes back up. So that now that you've imprinted your pendulum and you've been able to connect with that and give yourself your love and gratitude to it, then you're going to tell your pendulum, basically you're going to tell your higher self or your spirit guides what your yes and your no means. You're the one who decides this. So this is how you're going to do it. You're going to place your pendulum in your hand like this, and you're going to tell your spirit guides or your higher self, hey, this is my yes. And you move it back and forth, and then you're going to say, this is my no, and you move it from left to right or right to left. Then you say it again, this is my yes, and this is my no. All right, so let's go ahead and ask a question. So I'm going to ask a question just to start that I know is correct, and then I'm going to ask a question that I know is incorrect and see what answers I get. But before I do that, I'm going to set the intention to connect with my higher self, and you can stick around to see how I do that. Spirit, I'm setting an intention right now to connect with my higher self. I would like to clear any blocks or interferences that are keeping me from connecting to my higher self. I would like to know, am I connected to my higher self right now? Thank you, Spirit. Is there anyone else involved? Thank you, Spirit. Spirit, I ask you to please clear any blocks, interferences, extra souls that are keeping me from connecting to my higher self directly. Please step aside any of you who are blocking my connection to be directly connected to my higher self. Am I connected to my higher self right now? Is there anyone else involved? Am I only working with my higher self? Thank you, Spirit. All right. I'd like to know, is my name Jakara? Spirit, can you tell me, is my name Victoria? As you ask your questions, yes or no, and you get your yes or no answers, then the more you practice, the better it'll get for you. I recommend that you even go to the store and ask your spirit guides or your higher self, is this food good for me? Or is this for my highest good to get this a bag or this clothing or whatever that is for you? You can go ahead and ask those questions. As simple things like that are really great so that you can stay in that divine guidance. And why not use a tool that you can take anywhere and ask very quickly to connect and get an answer? So I hope that you have fun, and let me know in the comments, how did it go for you, and did you get the right answers?